Hey, welcome to another exercise library edition, but this one is going to be on the hinge to the swing. So the hinge is really the baseline movement of what would be then a deadlift and or a swing eventually. So the deadlift is really a movement where you take a weight, a load, and from a dead stop, you're going to lift it up. And it really uses a lot of core, glutes, hamstrings, but it can be considered a full body workout other than it's just not going overhead. Moving forward into the swing, you're going to deal with power, stability, control, core, all of those things coming together as one piece. So that is a leveled up movement. However, this does not have to injure your back, hurt your back, put you out of control or anything like that. Because if you follow some basic steps of control and stability, you're going to find that this is a lot easier to do than you think, and it can be a game changer for a full body movement. So that way you don't have to worry about maybe if you can't go for a run or a walk, or maybe jump roping isn't your thing, that for cardiovascular, you can get some cardiovascular movement, some strength movement, stability movement, and even get some mobility out of getting in the basic movement of the deadlift, the hinge, and also the swing, which is a power move. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to start with the basics. We're going to start with developing the plank, because the plank at the end of the movement is the swing. So we're going to get down into a plank. The key of the plank is to have control in the shoulders, stability, packing those shoulders in. So a lot of times when we move, we let the shoulders bounce up and down. We want to pack those shoulders down as if you're holding from underneath your armpits, not from your front of your shoulders, which get overworked, or the back of your shoulders. It's underneath. It's like a cinching down. Think of holding a piece of paper in your armpit, or holding something down, pressing into the ground, like in the plank. So let's get down into the plank. You can do a plank on your hands or your forehands, either way. If you set up in your hands, you want to set up your hands first before you get your feet into position. Roll your shoulders in so you pull the armpit, the upper arm towards the torso. Pack those arms in this way, pack your shoulders back that way. Then set up the plank. If you tend to have any wrist issues, you can slightly turn your fingers out, or really you could go to your fist, but this is going to be difficult to hold a plank for very long, like this. And also you could use a dumbbell potentially as well. So grab the ground with your hand, pack those elbows and armpits in, extend one leg, extend the head. So now you're at the end of the swing position, just in this right here. Draw the belly into the body, extend the other leg, and then you're holding. You're holding, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, just like you would be doing on a swing. And you can hold this for 10, 20, 30 seconds. But the end of a swing is really a moment in time. So practice holding for shorter periods of time with intensity in breathing to give you that sense of that movement, really creating that draw in of the body. The second position I want to show you is really what I call the plank to pike. It actually mimics the hinge, the deadlift, the swing on the ground, a little more safe. So again, we pack those armpits in, pull the belly in, extend one leg, extend the head. Then extend the other leg, so you're in nice position. Then you're just going to hinge backward and come forward. Inhale, exhale. Make sure as you come forward, you brace and then pause. One more time. So you can see that gentle movement of the hinge. No tension, no pressure on the lower back. You can also do the same thing from an elevated surface, like a box, a step, anything that's elevated, starting with your hands. Pack those arms in. Step your feet back just so you can measure. And then you're just going to start back into your hips. This would be kind of the deadlift position. And then come forward into the hands. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Now realizing that you would keep your heels on the ground, of course, throughout an entire deadlift position. So the basic idea of moving forward to the deadlift is really the movement of the hinge. And the hinge is here, not here. There is no spinal flexion. There is no thoracic flexion in the deadlift, really, or the swing. And there is really no arm movement other than the retraction to swing back and then coming up to end at a plank position. So if I'm just going to hinge to warm up, I can place my hands on my hip joint so I know where I'm going, and I'm going to push my hips back until I feel my hamstrings and then come in. A simple mistake people make is not controlling through here, and then they arch and put too much extension in the lower back. So draw the tailbone slightly down, not tucking, just make sure that you're not overarching in the ribs. Hands at your hip joints, push your hips back, and come forward. Notice your weight in your feet should be balanced between your toes and your heels. Now you can add some hand motions. Come down to your toes. One more time. And then that's the basic movement of the deadlift. You should already be able to feel this in the glutes. If you're feeling this in the lower back, I would highly suggest you descale the motion, go into plank, do some plank to pike, open up the back, some single leg knees rocking to kind of get the system more ready. So if you're going to add a weight, you have the weight slightly out in front of you for the swing, but you're going to be directly over the weight for the deadlift. So again, slightly out in front of you for the swing, directly underneath you for the deadlift, because you want to keep the weight in line with the center of mass. Okay, so again, hands at your hip joints, hands at your thighs, you choose, hinge at the hips. Now notice the shoulders packed back and then come back in, just like at the top of the plank. Packed back and come in. You don't want to have your back rounded and your shoulders sloppy. You want to make sure that the shoulders are packed back in, just like at the top of the plank, just like at the bottom of the plank. So again, hinge, nothing's moving in my torso. Exhale, come up, inhale, and then down. Good. Okay, so now we're moving on to the swing. The swing is a very easy motion. Think of really a swing or a pendulum action. So you're not trying to get the arms to pull the kettlebell up. You're really trying to hold that same weight right here, rib cage to hips. So again, deadlift, the weight is in between the feet. Swing, the weight is in front. So think of a triangle, nice strong base, and so the body can move with some fluidity. So again, we can start with our shoulders packed in, moving from the hips, hinge back, grab that kettlebell. So similar to, you don't want to now bring your weight over, because notice what happens in my feet. My weight goes into my toes, and then I'm now directing the weight all into my shoulders and then potentially my lower back. So I want to sit back, pack those shoulders into the body, and then think of allowing my toes to slightly lift, press in, body's nice and long, just like a plank, looking forward. I'm going to swing the kettlebell back and just put it right back to where it starts. So a basic start as an easy one-directional swing. Nothing changed in my torso, just my arms swung back. So now I'm going to do what's called a single swing or a dead stop swing. I'm going to swing back, I'm going to swing up and pause. The kettlebell, my arm body will pause. You'll notice the kettlebell slightly lift, and then I'll swing back again and pause right where I started. So again, hinge, swing back, and again, no rise in the shoulder, torso tight, weight goes. Now we're moving on to the swing. The swing is a very easy motion. Think of really a swing or a pendulum action. So you're not trying to get the arms to pull the kettlebell up. You're really trying to hold that same weight right here, rib cage to hips. So again, deadlift, the weight is in between the feet. Swing, the weight is in front. So think of a triangle, nice strong base, and so the body can move with some fluidity. So again, we can start with our shoulders packed in, moving from the hips, hinge back, grab that kettlebell. So similar to, you don't want to now bring your weight over, because notice what happens in my feet. My weight goes into my toes, and then I'm now directing the weight all into my shoulders and then potentially my lower back. So I want to sit back, pack those shoulders into the body, and then think of allowing my toes to slightly lift, press in, body's nice and long, just like a plank, looking forward. I'm going to swing the kettlebell back and just put it right back to where it starts. So a basic start as an easy one directional swing. Nothing changed in my torso, just my arms swung back. So now I'm going to do what's called a single swing or a dead stop swing. I'm going to swing back, I'm going to swing up and pause. The kettlebell, my arm body will pause. You'll notice the kettlebell slightly lift, and then I'll swing back again and pause right where I started. So again, hinge, swing back, and again, no rise in the shoulder, torso tight, weight goes back, weight comes forward, no pushing through the knees. I'm just letting my hips extend forward. My knees are straightening to help engage my glutes. They're not straightening to come up from the squat. So then we're going to move into a regular swing pattern. Once we begin to move in the swing pattern, we keep the swing pattern going. I'm going to go for 5 reps, pause. Again, the two-handed swing, I'm going to show you in a 5-rep set, then a 10-rep set. So you're going to see the continuation of the swing. Watch as the swing goes back. It's even. I pause at the top. I watch the hips move, break, and then the arms come back. With no lifting of my arms, my hips come forward and my arms just lift right back to the plank position. Let's go. Notice I came all the way to the upright. I'm not leaning back. If you'd fail to come to, in a sense, that you don't come to upright, you're going to feel this movement right here in the lower back. The key is to come all the way. How do you know you're all the way? Quads are locked out, glutes are tight, shoulders are tight and extended. Okay? 10 reps at a time. There you go. Simple enough. A lot of work can go into this. You can have a lot of reps. I promise you that as you do this, if you allow yourself to start with the plank, go to the hinge, which is the plank to pike, go to the standing hinge, Add load to the standing hinge with the deadlift. Move to single swing pattern, then the dead stop swing. Then giving yourself the opportunity to go through some lesser reps, adding on reps. Repetition is the mother of mastery. You're gonna get this, no pain, no problem. Allow yourself to learn just in segments, not all at once, and you're gonna get this great. You're gonna end up feeling like this weight is no big deal, and you're gonna move on. Hey, good morning. I just wanna give you some information on maybe how do you pick the weight you're gonna use when you do kettlebell work. Well, there is some baseline ideas of how to do it. Simply, women tend to be able to start with about 25 pounds or about a 12K kettlebell. Men tend to start with something a little bit heavier, maybe somewhere around 36 pounds to 42 pounds, and giving them the opportunity 16, 18, 22K kettlebell. So men just have more overall bulk strength, their lever length is longer, so their capacity just to start is a little bit more defined. For women, we tend to feel like we want to start lighter, but in reality, our body is just as strong, and we need to start with a weight we have capacity for. But I'll say this just as a small caveat. If you don't feel comfortable with it, your body's going to know, and it's going to limit your capacity anyway. So again, a 12K kettlebell or about 25 pounds really is ideal to start for most women's lower body exercises, and a kettlebell swing is a lower body move. A lot of women want to start with something too light and then swing the weight around and don't have a lot of control over it, or are afraid of going too heavy too fast. That's okay. You want to start and you can develop a very strong base with something like about a 12K kettlebell. And why don't we use a dumbbell? Well, a dumbbell has no natural swing to it, and we tend to lift and hold the kettlebell with our upper body instead of letting the kettlebell do the work with the swing. I'll show you real quick. So with a 12K kettlebell for a woman, perfect size, you're going to hinge, grab that weight, and swing the weight. Notice there's a slight loft in the kettlebell movement, and the bell itself has direction. But with a dumbbell, as you're doing it, it may seem more balanced, but you can't, it doesn't have a natural just a lift because all the weight's in one line. So you actually have to lift it more than the kettlebell. Is it a possible alternative? Of course. Just know why you're doing it and what the expected true outcome will be. They're similar, but different. Give yourself the opportunity to try it out, but also allow yourself to learn the differences, and you're gonna find that your success increases even faster. I hope you learned a little something just about picking out the weight of a kettlebell. Be strong, be efficient, and bring your best.